What if your login screen could detect network changes and work offline? Let's build it in SwiftUI. This is what we will create in this tutorial. Using the network framework, the application is able to detect if you're connected to the network or not using either Wi-Fi or mobile data, as I will demonstrate. At the moment, at the bottom of the screen, you can see it shows the network connection status in green. We're connected to the Wi-Fi network at the moment. Now, if I change the connection to not connected to any Wi-Fi and then go back to the application, you will see that the status has been updated to not connected to the internet. And then if I go back again and change it to mobile data, you will see that the connection is now cellular as we're connected to mobile data for the internet. And then if I go back again and then select Wi-Fi, you will see that we are now connected to Wi-Fi network. So this is the actual application that we'll be creating in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will create the content view that will enable the user to get the network status of their device. The purpose of this tutorial is to show how to work with the network framework, and for that reason, it does not follow any proper design pattern. Within your content view, import the network framework that will enable the application to monitor the internet connectivity. And then the next thing we need to do is to create a state object. Private var network monitor equals network monitor. And what that does, it observes the network monitor class to detect any changes. You also need a few state variables to capture the username to enable them to log in. Private var passwords. And we also need to detect when a user is logged in or not. Now let's incorrect. This will indicate whether the login process is in motion. Then we also need another state variable at private var login status. The next thing we need to do is to create our navigation stack. V-stack, spacing 30. We also need to create our system name image, which is called, or which will be referencing lock shields. We make the icon larger by setting the size to 60. And then add some padding to the top, 50 pixels away from the top. The next thing we need to do is to add another V-stack. The purpose of this V-stack is to enable the user to enter their username and password. Let me see if the preview works. Username. Text field. Style. Dot round. Rounded border. And then we do the same thing for the password. Password. And then instead of using text, we make sure that the field is secure field. And then we have some padding to the sides using horizontal. Then we have to create another V-stack. Spacing 10. If is logging in. Then we show the progress view with the caption logging in. Else we show the button login. And then that will call the login function to enable the user to perform a login. That function doesn't exist as yet. Let's create that function now. create it after line 47. Private func login is logging in. This is true. Login status equals to nil, because we don't know if the user has actually logged in or not. Dispatch queue.main async sync after deadline.now, as we want to like simulate a network request after 2 seconds. Is login equals false. Spelled it incorrectly. Let's copy this one. And then here we just include some simple validation that is hard coded. As you know, really it should be coming from an API like Firebase or JSON or some type of database. And passwords lowercase equal to test. So we're checking to see if the username is equal to admin and the password is equal to test. If it is, then the login status is login successfully or login successful. Else login status equals invalid username or password. So now we can return to line 39. That includes our login call that we'll call the login function. That should be lowercase l. Button style dot bordered prominent dot disabled. So it will disable the button if there's no internet connection. Network monitor dot is connected. If let status is equal to login status, so if it's not nil, if it contains a value that's not nil, it shows the status. Foreground color red. multi-text, alignment is center. After line 51, we just add some spacing. So we just type spacer, and then we call our connection info section that doesn't exist as yet. So we need to create that now. Private var connection info section, some view. So this is a computed view that shows the network connection information. Really, this should be in its own file as well. Stack spacing 5. Text network status network monitor is connected. If it's connected, it will show connected. Else, if it's not connected, it will show no internet. We next need to set the foreground color. Network monitor is connected. So if it is connected, then the foreground color will be green, else it will be red. The next thing we need to do is to attempt to display the available connection types from the network monitor. Network monitor connection type. Connection type. Type. Description. Doesn't exist as yet, so I need to create that as well. For type. Give it a foreground color. Secondary. The font, which is footnote. So that will use a less, smaller font. And then padding top 20. That will add spacing above the section. So the next thing we need to do now is to go back to, I think it was line 55 and type in connection info so that view can be displayed. Add some padding around the entire VStack. Add a navigation title called login, caption, and just add some basic animation using dot ease out value network. That should be value. Network monitor dot is connected. So that'll be some like basic animation when the network connection changes to offline, cellular, which is mobile, or Wi-Fi connection. So the next thing we need to do is to add our type description function. Private var type description for type NW interface dot interface type, and then this will return a string. So the purpose of this function is to convert the network interface type to a readable string, as you will now see. So we just switch through the different options. You can use a switch statement or if statement, it's up to you. If case is Wi-Fi, then we just return the string, which is Wi-Fi. Case.cellular mobile. So we just return the string, which is cellular. Case.wired Ethernet. Return Ethernet. Case.loopback. Return loopback. Case.other. Just return other types of connection. Else, if it's unknown, then we just have a default. Which will return unknown. I just save it. See if it compiles. Missed out the word function, so that should be function, not var. It should be func. Recompile it again. Unknown shouldn't have a colon. To test this properly, it's best to test it on an actual physical device, such as your iPhone or iPad. As with the simulator, it doesn't always work correctly. So test it on your iPhone or iPad, then it will always work correctly. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials.